So Caleb and I decided to do our own version of trick or treating, and we're gonna go through several players, some super controversial, and we're gonna talk about them. Are they a trick? Their whole career, they've been someone that's kind of like, they're not very good, or maybe they're overrated, or maybe you think that they harm more than help, or treat. Maybe there's someone that's a underrated, slept on player. Maybe there's someone that is very talented that and they don't get enough credit in this league. And first off, I'm gonna start with you, Caleb. I'll give you the first guy. You give me the second guy, vice versa, and
All
we'll
right.
both answer for each one. So Kevin Durant, trick or
Uh,
treat?
Heading into next year,
Yeah.
I'm gonna scare people. I'm gonna
So
say trick because that Achilles injury is pretty scary for a guy his size. I think he'd still average around 20, but I don't think he'll be the same player. How about you?
I'm gonna go with treat. I think Kevin Durant is one of the best players in this league. How many times have you seen a 7 foot guy that has a ball handling of a point guard, that has the shooting of a shooting guard, and is probably one of the most pure shooters next to Steph Curry? It's so rare. I get he's coming off an Achilles, but Kevin Durant is not 35 years old. I think we're gonna see him ready to prove a lot of people like Caleb that are just straight haters. I think he's ready to prove him wrong. And I think Caleb will have to eat his words live. He's going to write down exactly what he said about Kevin Durant. And when Kevin Durant wins MVP this year, he's going to eat that piece of paper live for you guys.
You're gonna do the same whenever he averages 18 points per game. Moving on to Marvin Bagley, trick or treat?
You really wanted to ask me this guy? Really?
Yes, yes, he was on my list.
Marvin Bagley is a trick.
Wow.
He's not a treat. He's not a treat. He's just not a treat. He was a treat if you got him in the second round. He'd be a treat if you got him. No, I'm kidding. He'd be a treat if you got him as a late lottery pick. And I'm being dead honest. If you got him as a late lottery pick, he's a treat. But at the slot we got him with, I think you're looking at a potential trick. You have a guy that came into the NBA during his workout, and he told the Kings, I want to be the face of this franchise. I want to turn this franchise around.
He did say all that.
When you talk those words, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. Marvin Bagley has not lived up to it. He has been hurt. I think he's going to remain injury prone for most of his career, and I don't see him becoming anything. I don't see him even becoming beyond, if at all, a 20-10 consistent player. Caleb, Marvin Bagley, trick or treat, go.
I'm gonna say he's a treat. I know he has injury concerns and everything, but when he is healthy and playing, he does show good signs. And he is young still. We have to remember that. And I mean, what's more of a treat than a SoundCloud rapper? I mean, that what more could you want? In my opinion, he's a treat for sure.
Moving on. Let's go talk about my guy right here, James Harden. Trick or treat, Caleb?
Treat. I mean, aside from KD, there isn't probably anybody that's better at scoring the basketball than Harden. And I know he flops. He gets a lot of free throws a game. Yeah, but that's part of the game. Part of the game is manipulating the refs to your favor. And like we said earlier, the refs play just as big of a part in the game as the players do, really, in the NBA at least. So whenever you can get them on your side, hey, you're a treat. How about you? Trick or treat for James Harden?
I'm going real easy. It's a trick. I think James Harden plays a fool. He's a straight fooler. James Harden, again, don't get me wrong, super talented player, one of the best offensive players, one of the best one-on-one players to ever play this game. But saying that, this game is a 5-on-5 game, and I don't think James Harden will ever lead your team to a championship, ever. And if he does, I will eat my words because I don't see that happening unless you put him next to LeBron. How does James Harden help your team? By dribbling for 20 seconds and then kicking out at the last seconds for a corner three, so I have to shoot it? Like, I would hate playing with a guy like that, and I would hate coaching a guy like that. I would hate being a general manager of a guy like that. I don't blame D'Antoni for leaving. I don't blame Daryl Morey for leaving. And if you notice, there seems to be a pattern, and it's going to continue.
You're right. You're not wrong.
We'll see. Next up, Markelle Fultz. Caleb seems to really like this guy. I can tell he's getting excited. He begged for me to put Markelle on here. Caleb, I wonder what you're gonna say. Trick or treat?
He's a treat. And, dude, I know you're already rolling your eyes. Listen to me. The dude is a treat. I know in Philadelphia it was kind of a mess. And I know he has a lot of hate in the league. For some reason, the poor guy has a lot of hate, and I really don't understand why. He had a couple really good games, and there was one game versus Washington where he got a breakaway dunk at the end to like seal it, and he postered somebody. And then there was another game against the Lakers where he just like bumped LeBron out of the way. And there's very few young guards specifically that use their body and can move people like that. And I'm excited for him. Now, do I think he'll be what everyone expected him to be as number one pick? No, but I wouldn't be shocked to see him get 20 points per game one season soon. No, if maybe next year, maybe. It depends. What do you think about him?
Uh, let's be honest. With Markelle and him being in Orlando now, I think it's a great fit for him. However, I'm gonna go with Trick. I think that they really messed up his shot. Shoulder injuries are tough, and especially on your shooting hand, I don't see Markelle being the same. Last one for you, Caleb. This is your guy, Jaylen Brown.
I'm gonna say Trick, and I know that's gonna make a lot of people think, "What?"
Celtics fan, breaking news. He hates his own player, guys. Jaylen Brown, if you're listening to this, this is what Celtics fans are like.
I don't hate him. I
Yeah.
do think he's a little bit overrated. I think people over exaggerate his defense primarily because on ball he's really good. Like we saw what he did to Siakam in the playoffs. But off ball, he falls asleep almost every single play. And he will let his guy get loose. We saw it really in the Heat series with Duncan Robinson. He would be on him, and Duncan would move without the ball, and Jaylen would always – even if you're a step behind on a player like that, that's it. I mean, he's going to get the shot off. And it really hurt us in that series. But even in the regular season, he lets the same thing happen where it's off-ball movement. He just gets lost. And it's so infuriating because he knows that's what he has to work on, but he still can't do it for some reason.
I think a lot of what you have to work on is never what players can actually work on, because it's like, well, if it was so easy, a lot of these players would fix what they've needed to work on since they were young kids. And the reason why that happens is because when you don't get out of those habits at a young age, it just naturally sticks with you. No matter how much you sit in the gym and you're like Willie Cauley-Stein shooting threes for no reason for 10 minutes straight, no matter how much you do that, it's not going to randomly turn you into a three-point shooter. You can do defensive slides all day. It's not going to make you turn into Kawhi Leonard. And I think Jaylen Brown has the talent. I think he has a lot of talent. And what people expect of him are similar to what people look at for Jason Tatum. And that's not what you can expect out of a player just because you have a young superstar. You cannot expect the other guy to kind of live up to that expectations as well, because Jaylen Brown never had those expectations. Yeah. Jason Tatum started exceeding expectations, and then consistently, anytime they put a bar for him, he would exceed it. So I think that's the difference. And I will say, you darn Celtics fans are spoiled, and that's why you guys hate on him. But again, I think he's a super talented player. I'd take him on the Kings. I'd take him on a lot of teams. I think he has a bright future, and I think he's one of the better young players in this league. And I don't think that's debatable.
Yeah, I agree with the better young player thing. I just think he gets a little bit overrated.
By who? It's just you guys that overrate him because you guys expect him to drop 30 and 20.
No, because people say the gap between him and Tatum isn't that big, and it's pretty substantial. It's pretty big.
It is pretty big. I think the only people that say that don't really I don't feel like they don't really watch the Celtics too much. Yeah. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my feeling. Real quick, we're way over our time, guys. But I want to talk about last one real quick. Both of us feel this person's a treat, Bradley Beal. I just want to talk about Bradley Beal because I love Bradley Beal. Probably my favorite player, non-Kings player in the league. I think he's an amazing treat. I think whoever gets him is going to have one of the best shooting guards in the league. Mm-hmm. He is the same age as Buddy Hield. who a lot of people call as a young shooting guard.
That is absurd.
And that's ridiculous to me. And I think Bradley Beal is a much better player. I think, especially under the right team, I don't think Scott Brooks is a good coach. I don't think Washington is a good fit for him. And he was putting up monster numbers. I think he can help a team get to that next level. And I would love to see him on the Celtics. I know Caleb would love that too.
You just made me smile ear to ear. Dude, I love Bradley Beal, and I get the exact same argument you see. I see the exact same thing. People just nonstop. They just, for some odd reason, they think it has to be. I don't know. He's so good at scoring, and people say, well, he's not that good of a defensive player. It's like, well, I think he does so much on offense for Washington that he doesn't want to waste energy on that side of the ball, but they do a good job. I don't know.
90% of the league are not good defenders. Come on. I hate that argument.
That's true.
How many good defenders are there realistically? LeBron is not even a good defender. He's a good defender when he wants to be. Half the time, if you watch him, he's not even in a defensive stance.
LeBron takes a lot of time off. And that argument's so tiring. They handpick it for what player they like and what player they don't like. Because if they like this one player, they ain't gonna bring up his defense. They're just moving straight on. They're like, it is what it is.
Exactly. So I would say the treat of the season for me total of all the guys, I would go Bradley Beal. What about yourself, Caleb? Who are you choosing as the treat?
It would be Beal for me.
I like that.